¿Qué tal, qué tal, qué tal, mi raza? Bienvenidos a Somos, el LAFC podcast de la afición y para la afición. Una noche más, una noche mágica. Yo soy Julio Ramos, conocido en el bajo mundo como el Chiva Mayor.
Su camarada José Salcedo, estamos aquí una vez más. Seguimos con la buena racha, compadre. Tenemos un invitado muy especial. Y antes de presentarlo, we're going to have to hit the stop button. So let me get my little remote because this is going to be our first podcast in English. And we have a special guest. We are very happy. We are very proud to present. Who do we have, compadre?
Mark-Anthony, the wizard. Hey, welcome to Somos el LAFC podcast.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So this is it. You're popping the cherry, Mark. We're actually speaking English now.
I know.
It's official, man. Now you know. Today, let me tell you something. I was eating hamburgers. I was trying just to keep it, American food, so my English can be a little bit more fluent. So happy to do that and happy to have you, man. Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate that. I'm happy to be on with you guys. What you guys are doing are awesome, so I'm glad I could be a part of it.
So let's talk about a little from the beginning, Mark. Where you from, and how do you start falling in love with the beautiful sport?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised from Toronto, Canada. Lived there for about, I would say, 16, 17 years out of my life before I actually moved out of the country. So growing up in Toronto, it's a big sports city. Soccer or football wasn't one of the major ones. So I grew up with a lot of hockey players and fell short to everyone wanting to play hockey and not wanting to play soccer. So sometimes I was left alone. But as the game grew, soccer within the city grew and more kids started to get involved. I think it was because it's so multicultural, the city. I bounced around from club team to club team for a little bit. And, later on in my youth career, TFC became involved. And that's when they started picking certain players from different areas in the city and kind of trying to put the best team together, as all MLS teams do when they scout players. So I went through a little spell of not being part of that for a couple of years. I didn't end up joining until I was 19. So, my story obviously professionally started at TFC, but it took a while to get there for me.
Okay, I got a question for you, Mark. I had the pleasure to be in Toronto back in 2010 for the MLS Cup. And man, it's fucking cold over there.
It was cold. Yeah, it was cold. I don't remember what I was doing in 2010. Yeah.
So how was the move, from the cold weather to this beautiful weather in Southern California?
Yeah, it was amazing. So in between, obviously coming from Toronto, I went to Louisville for a little bit. And, Louisville, Kentucky is a very hot, dry place. And, it was a nice change from the cold weather of Toronto. But obviously, when I got to move to California, it was really surreal. I'm like, oh my God, the weather's amazing all year round. We got beaches, you can see the mountains, all at once. And I was just I never expected that my journey so early in my career would lead me to such a great city. So it took me a while to adjust, but I think now in my third year, I can really call this place home and embrace the city as it is.
And we can call you family, man, because like I told you when we had the other way around, you guys are family to us. Let me ask you, so how do you hear about LAFC? What was the first impression when you knew about LAFC, and who brought you to the team? How was that process?
Yeah, so I remember I was playing in the USL. So this is about 16, I'm with Louisville. And obviously there have been talks about LAFC prior to that, but I didn't really hear about them until one of my teammates was talking about it, basically saying, oh yeah, I'm going to try and, go to a trial with LAFC. And MLS started to make some announcements about the team coming into the league in 2018. And I just remember just seeing it on TV, the black and gold colors, Bob Bradley, Carlos Vela, Will Ferrell. And I'm just like, oh my God, this team is going to be very good, And not once did I ever think that I was going to be part of this team. It was just something okay, this team is going to be good. I'll take a chance with any other team, not thinking about LAFC. And after that year with the Gold Cup in 2017, I started to get a lot of interest from MLS clubs. And, interest was just bouncing around. And it's a very stressful time for anyone in sports when, one team says we want you, and then another team says we want you, and then they don't get the papers signed. So it was just bouncing around interest. And then finally, my agent got a call from Bob Bradley and said, hey, listen, like, we really like this guy. We want to get this done in a week. And I was like, oh my God, like I couldn't believe it. I remember exactly where it was when I found out, and I was in Toronto at the time, and I was like, no way I have a chance to go to LAFC. Out of all the other clubs that passed on me, LAFC is the one who's going to give me a chance. So, like within 4 or 5 days, my contract was bought out by LAFC bought out my contract from Louisville. And I was on a flight to LA on that. I think it was like Sunday. And the Monday I had to drive back to Louisville. If I didn't have a contract, I would have to go back for preseason to Louisville. So it was like last minute. LAFC made it so quick, got me there. Next thing you know, I was sitting at UCLA signing a contract.
That's super badass.
Yeah. I remember back in the UCLA days, because you were part of the team since they started training in UCLA in the first season. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I remember, and this is what I love about Bob. Bob Bradley is the type of coach that he has a eye to see players that sometimes we cannot see. Obviously, it's his job, but or someone else as professional can see. I remember on the two of the games or 3 of the games that you guys played in UCLA, they scored like 2 goals on us because of you, man. Because you were trying to play the ball, which is what you do right now. You fucking really good. But at the time in the preseason, you will make that mistake. They will take the ball away from you, counter attack, and score on us. But see, Bob had that to say, you know what? I got this guy. I'm gonna work on him, and I'm gonna work on that aspect of the game. And dude, the change has been tremendous. I mean, the Wizard, man. What can we say? I mean, honestly, like you being on the midfield, it makes a huge difference. Obviously, we have a great team, but you being on the midfield, it makes it much easier on every single other player. And I'm so happy that Bradley has that eye of seeing those type of players that you were not even expecting that. He was not looking for big names. He was just looking for players that are willing to learn. And I think that so far we're doing really, really good when it comes to that.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like you said, I remember that preseason. It was so hard for me, that preseason. It was a lot of information, Bob yelling my name all the time, check your shoulders. And I'm like, oh my God, like I was at TFC before and it wasn't this hard, but I really wanted to make a name for myself. I really wanted to go in there and play. I was waiting for this opportunity for so long. I was like, I'm not going to let anything take it away from me. And I had to learn the hard way, but now it's paid off.
So quick question. How hard is it when a player like yourself that is very physical in the midfield or very controlling gets injured? Because you had a injury last year that you took a couple of months on the bench.
Yeah. No, it's tough. Obviously, injuries are part of the game, and we work so hard to prevent them. But they always happen to the best of us, and I think the important thing is just having that resilience to come back. You have to understand it's part of the game, and you just got to work harder to get over it. I think having a good support system is massive. Like I even said it to Julio. I said, like, when I had broken my ankle, like, I was so new to LAFC and the supporter culture and the fan base, and I was getting like 400 messages on Instagram of people asking me if they could help me, if my ankle's okay, and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, like it just gave me such a rush to want to come back and give back to all those people who are giving to me at this moment in need. So a lot of it comes down to your mental drive. And like I said, your support system, the coaching staff, and you just got to understand that, sometimes roadblocks are going to make you stronger. So you have to respond to it in the right way.
Yeah, you mentioned something very important, and Julio touched about it earlier. The communication between the fans, the club, and the players is just crazy with LAFC. I think we have done such a great job putting everything together that you can see it. If you take a picture of the stadium, you can see the harmony, between everybody, the coaches, the staff, security, everything played out very well.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And that's hard work. That doesn't come easy. It's all the people who laid the right foundation. So, yeah, it's amazing to be a part of.
we got a pretty good family here, dude. And when we say family, we mean it.
Oh yeah. And speaking of family, just for all of the audience out there, you see a jersey on the back. It says Don Chava. That's my father's name. He's sick, and I'm over here in Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm high from Little Rock, Arkansas. It's raining right here. It's super cold. I'm outside, sitting outside, but happy to be here. But with my dad, and just wanted to share that with you guys. If you guys are wondering why I have the jersey, by the way, I got it. Jarritos was doing a promotion, and I guess it's called your own goal. So I did the first goal at the Bank of California, and I won the jersey and a 12-pack of Jarritos. So anyway, I wanted to let you guys know what was all
That's
about.
amazing, man.
So I was gonna ask you, how was that feeling of your first goal with LAFC?
I think we can all remember. I was in shock. I remember it because the game before, I think we had a midweek game against Dallas, and I had an opportunity in front of the net to score right in front of the 32-52, and I sailed it over the bar. And I just couldn't live with that feeling, where it was like that was the moment right there. That was, written in history. Score your first goal in front of the 32-52 right there. And I missed it. I blew my chance, So I was like, you know what? This is going to be a long season. Just do the dirty work, win some tackles, get some passing. You'll figure it out eventually, And then the next game, that opportunity, it just kind of landed on a plate for me. Like Latif, out of anyone, wins a header against a center back, and flicks the ball right onto me. And it's not even like I knew where I was putting the ball. It was like, just make good contact, get the sweet spot, And I think the goalie was just so shocked at like how Latif won the header. I think the whole stadium was shocked at how he won the header. And it just happened to land right to me, and I just hit it, and it went in. And I was like, okay, like, is this offside? Like, did I do something wrong? Like, is it my goal? So like my face, I was so shocked, I just like kind of looked, had this big smile on my face, like looking around, the crowd's cheering, and I'm like, I don't even know how to celebrate. Like, and by the time I realized that everyone is around me, and I'm still like, oh my God, like I just scored, like, like I've only been in the league for how long, like, and I've been able to get my first goal. It was a huge weight off my back. So that was a big moment, and it's funny the way it happened, because now I can look back on it and just laugh and remember it's just an easy game to play.
And as you mentioned, it was so impressive, like to see the team blessing flying like Michael Jordan, literally, like like and winning that ball. The shortest guy in the field wins the ball and gives that assist so that you can score your first goal with LAFC. Man, it was definitely a very memorable goal, and we all remember it very clear. It was a great experience for all of us, I think.
Good laughing experience.
Hey, Mark. So now that we are back in training, or we're back in training, how was that first day, second day?
Yeah, no, it was amazing. When we found out there was a possibility, I think a lot of us were still skeptical. But driving into the training ground, like, so Cheeky, he lives like across from me. So he came with me, and, just pulling up to the training ground and seeing the guys, I think that's the best feeling. Obviously, the fact that you can go on the field and you can train, and, you have a good facility to use other than trying to find a park or running on pavement. I think the best feeling is being around your team, even though you're still in isolation. You know what I mean? You still got to stay roughly 6 feet away, and it's like you're in your own quadrants. Like, we're not passing the ball to each other, but the fact that you can see your teammate working as hard as you are, that just gives you more motivation that we're closer to this game than we actually think. And it was really fun. We pushed each other, and I just hope that we can figure out, the government figures out that we can go back. But no, it was a really good moment.
It's good to hear, man. For us, it gives us that motivation to look forward to the future. Because honestly, this is it's been very hard for all of us. Like staying home, not being able to do what we love to do, which is football. And then for example, for me, I still play. Well, they play with me now, but not even being able to go to the park and kick the ball around, or same thing with my kids. It just makes it harder than everything that you're going through in life. And
Right.
I'm glad that you guys are able to go back and at least smell the grass and kick the
Yeah,
ball, even if it's used by yourself. I think that makes a huge difference. And hopefully, in the next week or so, you guys can start training the entire team, and by June, that's what I predict. By June, the season goes back, obviously with no fans in the stands, and
correct.
they're talking about maybe having it in Orlando, having the
Yeah,
entire rest of the tournament in Orlando. So whatever, we take whatever, man. To be honest, like,
yeah,
we just want you guys to be back in the field. Obviously, we want everybody to be safe. That's the most important thing. I mentioned it before, and I think that it doesn't matter if they tomorrow they say, you know what, the season is canceled. We're coming back next year. Yeah, it's
yeah.
unfortunate. They're probably gonna make me cry for 3 minutes. But the most important thing is that we are gonna be safe, and it's for the sake of everybody. Like, for example, they canceled the game versus Cruz Azul a day
Mhm.
before or a couple of days before.
Yeah,
I remember when that happened, we were all mad, dude. Like, come on, man, it's just like the flu. Like, man, you guys are making a big deal out of it, but then as the days went by and the weeks went by, we're like, oh my god, thank God they stopped it, and
correct.
they canceled the game, because otherwise, we wouldn't be able to take on our shoulders more deaths. Because right now, unfortunately, we have lost people, because of COVID-19, and
Yeah.
and 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 when we go back to the stands, it's not gonna be the same, because we're gonna be missing people, and that's just life. But I'm just glad that didn't happen, because otherwise it would be way more people infected, and it will just, you know, I think it would affect us more mentally, when it comes to that. Let me ask you, speaking about Conca Champions, how was your experience, versus Leon? How was that, that feeling of, let me tell you something. First of all, uh, 95% of the time when an MLS team plays a Liga MX team, it's and the stadium is either 50-50, very rare, or
Hmm.
70-80 Liga MX fans, and 20% MLS. And this time was the total opposite. We took
Yeah.
over a stadium. We did not allow them to take over a stadium. So how was the experience overall, like in Mexico and back at home?
Yeah, no, the experience was good. We were all looking forward to it after we had clinched that spot in Champions League. I even remember watching the draw, and as these teams are getting picked out and put into groups, and I just see Club Leon as one of the teams left. I'm like, yep, that's our team. I'm like, if there's any way of us entering a tournament or international tournament, we're gonna have to go against one of the best teams. There's no way we get
Yeah.
an easy walk in. That it's never gonna be us. You know what I mean? I think everyone should understand that. It's 3 years into this season or into this of us playing. We got to understand that it's not going to be easy for us. So when I saw Club Leon, I was very excited. I'm like, this is an opportunity to really show the world and Mexico how good we can be. And for so long, obviously, there's that division between MLS and Liga MX. So us going into there, we were excited to just be able to have the opportunity to perform. So when we got to Mexico, it was cool. Honestly, that's what I like how the people in their town, and you could just see how much they supported the club. And people are chanting at our bus and all this stuff. And I don't know how some of my teammates are reacting, but I'm smiling this whole time. Like, if you guys see a camera on me in the bus, I am like grinning ear to ear at these people, because I'm like, this is what I want. I'm like,
Yep.
this is football. You know what I mean? There's no patting on the back. Hey, welcome, welcome, guys. These guys are saying all this thing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. So we get into the stadium, and right away, I compared it to ours. That was the first thing I did. I walk up the steps. I look. I'm like, ah, yeah, it's all right. I was expecting more, of some cathedral or something. I was like, nah, 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 nah. It's okay. And then I look to the left, and I see all our traveling supporters. I'm like, let's go. This is a game. And it didn't feel as much as, I think the only thing that really affected us was the altitude. I think we weren't used to that. So that played a factor in it, which is normal. But in the sense of being scared by the home team fans, no chance whatsoever at all. Our presence was easily felt amongst you guys. So obviously the game didn't go the way we wanted, but when we came back to our stadium, we knew, like, there's no way a team's coming into our stadium and taking over ours. There's no way. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. So that's never on our mind. That's something we have to worry about. You guys have done such a great job over the first two seasons to reassure us that that will never happen. So we knew coming into this game that we had all you guys behind us and that we had nothing to lose. We had everything to gain. We had this story that if we were able to come back, this is going to be like stitched in history forever. So we were just playing like warriors. We did not care. No care in the world. You leave everything out on the field. And Bob said, you know, we might not win, right? But we're going to go out with the biggest bang ever. And, you know, when things weren't going our way, we still kept pushing. And finally, once we started getting the goals, we could just feel the life being sucked out of them. Like you could just see the guys who had such a good first leg against us were nowhere in that game, like nowhere. And obviously I know I was scaring people because, you know, I was supposed to get a red card or whatever, but like it was a tactic in my mind. I'm like, I'm going to kick the shit out of these guys. Like, it's not going to be easy. You know, people want to come to LA and relax. I'm like, no, you're going to come to LA and pick your shins off the ground. You know what I mean? So after that, we're battling. And then we knew the third goal was going to come. And once that came, it was the biggest, it wasn't even a sigh of relief. It was like, take that. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, all the people that were doubting us and everything, that was for you guys, the supporters. It was just like, look, we are completely different breed. You know what I mean? So it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, you know, and that made the headlines everywhere. Newspapers, all the TV shows in Mexico were talking about Carlos Vela because the first game, like a lot of shows on sports in Mexico were talking shit about Carlos Vela.
Yeah,
they're saying you know, he keeps on hiding on the most important moments. You know, he's never to be found and all this shit. They were talking shit about Carlos. But when we played at home and Carlos fucking did what he had to do. Dude, they were like, oh shit, you know, like MLS is serious shit, LAFC is serious shit. They're getting so close to us. We gotta keep pick it up, and it was just so good to watch that they dedicated, you know, almost 2 days about talking about LAFC, what Carlos Vela did, what a young squad we had, you know, with the low budget, you know, that the teams in MLS are managed. And we were still managed to kick Leon's ass, the team that has had most points for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
and you know what? When you were talking about it, I got the chills, man. Because honestly, it was an incredible moment. But like you said, you know, we're a different breed, man. I'm a believer that this club it's you know, we're here for big things and to make a difference, not just in football in LA and the MLS and in the world in general, man. Because honestly, the impact that we're having on all the aspects of the club, it's unbelievable. And I think that we are all working so hard, you know, to make that happen. Again, we don't have big names on the team. we have Carlos Vela and everything, but you know, besides that, we have youngsters, you know, willing to kick butt and go out there. Like you said, you know, if you're gonna come to LA, you better bring your best game, because otherwise you're gonna get kick the shit out of him. Man.
That's what I'm saying.
We love that attitude, bro. That's the way to roll, man.
Yeah.
That's some gangster shit, compadre.
That's some gangster.
Hey, Mark. So real quick, man. How much do you think you've grown since you got to LA? I mean, I'm pretty sure the tactics, the way of training, it's all different. How do you feel now, like looking back 2 years ago to the Mark-Anthony that is now? You know, like, what do you think you have learned the most?
Yeah, so, you know, when I look back on my first year, I think coming into the league, I was a very naive player. You know, I kind of let the game come to me, and kind of like I was more about, okay, how can I not mess up? You know what I mean? It was more of just trying to make sure I'm not taking any risk and I'm staying in this comfort zone. And, you know, the season, it turned out all right, you know, for other than the injury, I was doing okay. And then it started to pick up, you know, and I started to really start pushing myself. Because I think when I first came, I had set a goal to just be in the 18. That was my goal. Coming into preseason, I'm like, okay, I want to be in the 18. I don't want to be left at home, you know, because that would have been hard for me coming from like a championship team to go to MLS. That's like that's not the rude awakening you really want, you know? So then when I starting games, I was like, oh my God, like maybe this is just a fluke, you know, it's just the luck of the draw. And then I think as we started to play and we were doing really well, I was like, you know what, I actually can play at this level. And I always knew that. And I think the first year was getting myself back to that confident level I was at when I was playing in the USL. So obviously it got cut short by the injury. And then I think when I came into my second year, I was so motivated to get back on the field because I left off in a good spot. I knew that I worked so hard that off season to get myself back in good position that I was going to make sure I was the best player in my position almost every game. I set out to be one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the league. That's what I said to myself at the beginning of the year. And I think time is a beautiful thing, you know, time with Bob, time with the tactics, time with understanding your players, and time with me and Edward, and then Latif gets put in, and it's just the synchronization of everything makes it much easier. And now you're not stressing about little things you can't control. You're actually helping other people grow on your team, and you're growing at the same time. So we're all elevating. And I think that over the years, I've just, you know, been more confident on the ball, more demanding of making the tempo high, getting into a tackle, like taking a yellow card if I need to. These are things that I would never think of. I would go on the field and just, hey, I'm playing. You know what I mean? If I can last 90 minutes, job well done. The team wins, oh, even better job, you know? But now it's like, no. I go every game, I'm trying to kill the other team. Simple as that. Like, they could be my friends, but I'm like, no. I don't have time for that, you know? So I think the competitive edge has grown, but also my tactical awareness, the training system we have has just set in much better with us.
Nice.
Who has been the hardest player to mark in the MLS so far?
I would say the two of them would be Luciano Acosta, who was playing for DC United, and now he's left. And then Darlington Nagbe is really hard to get the ball off. You can sometimes stop him from going forward, but I don't think he loses the ball. Like, it's just, he's very elusive, and it's just kind of like, oh man, just pass it, you know, so we can try and win it from someone else. But I would say those are two of the hardest players I would think I've played against.
So when you were growing up, Mark, who was your soccer idols that play your position? You know, that you said, like, I want to be like this guy when I grow up.
For me, it was Thierry Henry first. You know, it was just, I didn't even support Arsenal, but it was just the way he played. He was such a tall, like, lanky kind of guy, just glided across the field. Like, he made it look like everyone was, like, so slow. And he just kind of glided by everyone, put the ball in the back of the net. He had such this prowess and swagger about him. And I was like, oh, my God, like, this is the guy. And I had a poster of him in my room. And as I was growing up, I started to become a Manchester United supporter because my mom was. So that's when I started to watch Cristiano Ronaldo when he came. And I was like, oh, my God, like, Thierry Henry is very good, but like Cristiano Ronaldo is like much better, you know? So that's when I started to look at him. And I grew up a lot playing center mid, but also as a winger. So I used to dribble a lot. My first year when I came to LAFC in preseason, I used to dribble all the time. That's probably why Julio's saying I lost the ball, because I was a winger for the last 2 years and it was just still in my system, you know? But then I realized, you can't do that at this level. So I really tried to emulate my game off Ronaldo, but more in a midfield position where I could dribble, but I could also pass and stuff. So, I would dedicate it to those two players.
So, Ray, I think the question comes up. This is a question that he's like, every single guest that we have on the show, I got to ask this question. Go for it. I know the answer, I think, but
that's why I was laughing. I was like, we always ask everybody, you know, who do you think is a better player, Cristiano or Messi?
Yeah, like, see, I can answer that question easily because I think the better player, overall player, is Messi. My favorite player is Cristiano Ronaldo. So if you ask me who's my favorite player between Messi and Ronaldo, I say Ronaldo. But Messi is just, I want to do the thing Messi can do. I'm not as athletic as Ronaldo, but Messi, his vision, his passing, the way he just maneuvers his body, that's what you want. You know what I mean? No one's really, I think once you get into the real football world and you start developing as a pro, you start to realize, like, attaining what Ronaldo can do is like, he's a freak of nature in a sense. You know what I mean? And Messi is just like, everyone wants to have better vision. Look at Messi. Everyone wants to be a better team player. Look at Messi. Everyone wants to pass. Everyone wants to dribble. Look at Messi. I think now I've come to that maturity in my life where I say Messi.
Messi. Barcelona, Real Madrid, because they're going to ask.
Yeah, no. See, and that's hard too, because growing up, I supported Real Madrid all the time. Then I come to LAFC, and Bobby is just Barca, watch this, Barca, Busquets, Iniesta, all this. And it's just in my head. So now it's like, I don't even know who Real Madrid is. It's just Barcelona in my head because of Bob. So basically, I enjoyed watching Real Madrid, but at this point, I still say Barca is the better team.
Look at Ray celebrating. He's like going, because obviously he's a Barca fan, and I'm a Madrid fan. So for him, it's like music to his ears. Everything that you're saying, he's enjoying it.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite moment with LAFC? And then you can give me 2 or 3 if you want to, or one in particular.
Yeah, I would say my first favorite moment was the first win ever in club history. Again, I'm just this young, naive player on this new expansion team that, is set to do big things. And obviously the first game we go to is Seattle, and their stadium is huge. And I just remember like how loud it was when we were coming out. Like they were doing the boom, boom clap. And I was like, holy shit. Like, I got to go take a shit. Like, literally, I was like, this is a lot right now. But the way the game started, it worked out perfectly. I think Latif hit the post right away. And then finally, Diego scored. And I realized, oh, my God, there's the confidence. And we had to fight for the game. But once that game ended, it was like, whew, we're here. You know what I mean? And we got that first win. And then looking up and seeing our supporters, that was one of the best moments I've had in my career so far. And then I would say my second was scoring that goal against Vancouver. I think, I just had a pretty shit Gold Cup. The way we left the tournament, I was just upset. I was just happy to get back to LA. And, I was playing against a Canadian team that wanted me and didn't take me. So this was my chance to be like, this is what you guys missed out. So when I scored that goal, I was just like, I was just, there was so much like anger leaving my body. You know what I mean? And then obviously the third one is the win against Club Leon. That was just amazing. Like I knew it was possible, and I never doubted us. But that feeling, you can never imagine that feeling after the game when it's done. And it was more than I ever thought it would be. And those are the three. And then Supporter Shield is huge, but Supporter Shield is a lot of memories packed into one. And then finally getting it on that night and the party in the locker room. Oh my God, it was crazy, man, crazy. So those are my favorite moments for sure.
Yeah, I think everybody's special moment. It's the game in Seattle, the opening day. I remember when Diego Rossi scored. I was right next to Rich. And me and Rich just stared at each other, and we just fucking hug, and we were both crying. It was just
cry, yeah.
It was so much energy, and it was such a joy moment.
Yeah, that's the first. That's the first cheer. Just tons of energy for a goal. That's the first one. So you can't prepare for your first. You know what I mean? Like
I still see it here. Mark-Anthony
exactly.
Kaye to Carlos Vela to Diego Rossi. Wow, golazo!
Yeah, just like the announcer said, you never forget your first.
yeah, exactly.
Hey, so another question that I got here, Mark. In the future, what are your goals? Where do you want to get as a professional soccer player?
Yeah, since I've been a young child, I always dreamt of playing in Europe in the one of the highest leagues there. And that hasn't changed. Obviously, I've had to go into different paths and over different roadblocks, but now being at LAFC, I believe that goal is even more achievable now than ever. And I want to. I think when you give your all for whatever you're a part of in the moment, what you want in the future will come. So my goal is to get to Europe. I want to be able to test myself with the best players in the world. I want to play in a Champions League game. I want to, be able to just give everyone that has followed me and been a part of my journey, that feeling of, oh my God, he's done it. He's gotten there. And obviously for my mom, who grew up watching European football, just to have her son playing in one of those matches, I think she would, well, for sure she would cry, but she'd be like really happy for that. So I think that is my goal club-wise, is to get to Europe. And then obviously my goal in the national team is to captain my team in a World Cup. And, I don't know what's going to happen with this 2022 qualifications because of everything that's happened with COVID. We're missing out games for qualifying. But, even the World Cup in 2026, that's going to be here, I'll be 31 at that point, and I want to be that guy to captain that team in that first game, whether it be in Toronto or Vancouver. I want to be that guy. And, it's not just what you do on the field, it's your character too. So that's something I'm working on, so that when it comes down to who's going to have this role of leadership, I'm the guy people can count on. So I have a couple of years to keep working at that.
Well,
I can definitely see you. I can definitely see you in Europe.
Yeah,
I can definitely see you in Europe, man. Obviously, the determination that you have, the how you're maturing, through the years, and with a coach like Bob, I think that he's gonna help you a lot to achieve that goal. And then your mentality, bro. Like you said, go out there and not be afraid of getting a yellow card or even a red card if it's necessary.
Yeah.
And I think that if you keep that mentality, keep staying humble like you are, man. There's no doubt you're gonna get to where you wanna get when it comes to football, man. Let me ask you something. Your favorite 3 goals, LAFC goals, the best 3.
The best 3 that I've scored or the team has scored?
The team, including yours, obviously.
Okay. I think the first one I can remember was Carlos's second goal, I want to say, against the Galaxy, our first year, where he kind of just curled it over Bingham. Again, I remember that day exactly, and it was just a big battle, and we knew how important this win was to get, even though we didn't get it. But Carlos just stepping up in big moments like that and just showing that we should just follow him and trust in him. It was a huge goal. I'm obviously gonna say Diego's goal against Club Leon, where I don't know how he scores goals like that, but he does. He's actually, if you guys think about it, he scored 3 goals like that. Same kind of thing. He scored that one. He scored one against New England, where it looked like he was trying to cross it and it just went over the goalie. And then he scored a goal like that against Chicago. I think it was maybe last year, the year or first year. And Lee kind of chipped it over to me. He got it on his chest and just volleyed it with his left foot. So I don't know how he does that, but I think that Club Leon goal is going to be in history forever. And then I'm going to have to say Carlos's goal against San Jose, where he just dribbled through the whole team. It's just, I honestly felt like the other team gave up. When you watch the replay, it's probably the worst defending you've ever seen in the history of football. You know what I mean? Who goes for a little poke check in the box? But that goal, I remember I was on the bench. I didn't start that game. And I just remember as he got closer and closer to the net, we're all jumping and standing. We're oh my God. And you can see Bob's reaction. Bob's reaction is priceless when this goal goes in. He just kind of looks, he's yeah. And I was oh my God. Bob's reacting like that. We could go crazy, So I think that was one of the best ones. Yeah, top 3 for sure.
Good, but do we have any messages from the people that are connected right now?
Let me check. Give me a second. They're just saying that they already ordered the Rosetta Stones so they can understand what we're talking about. Oh my God! Let me see. Well, what is your favorite chant at the bank?
My favorite chant is "Jump for LA Football Club" because it stays in my mind as a time where I wasn't playing. I had broken my ankle, and I'm up in the suite, and all I can do is watch the game as one of you guys, a supporter. You know what I mean? And then always looking to my left and just seeing the whole 3252 in unison jump. I was I've never seen this shit before, man. I've probably taken 40 videos. Had to get a new phone because there's no more space on my phone. But every time I see this, I'm what the hell is this? I'm these are the best supporters in the look at this. That's coordination. You know what I mean? That's not easy. And I know the whole stadium is rocking. It doesn't matter if you know LAFC, if you are at every LAFC game, when that chant comes on, it doesn't matter if you're 5 years old, 6 years old, 12, 40, 50. Everyone wants to get up and do it. Even when I'm in the stands with my mom for that first our playoff game last year against Galaxy, and you guys are doing the chant. My mom is like going like this, trying to dance. I'm like, Mom, I can't do this right now. I gotta focus, you know. But I think that's such an engaging chant, you know, and it makes people feel like they're part of the family, even if they've never been there before, and that's why it's my favorite.
I got another question here. It says, ask Mark-Anthony Kaye, who is his roommate? When you travel away.
When I travel, we only traveled once this year. So my roommate is usually Dayon. Because, when I came here, me and Dayon actually lived together my first year. And also when I had just moved to LA, he was with me in the Airbnb. And, we played together on the national team. He's always been a mentor, a good friend of mine, and just always looks out for my best interests. If I ever need any advice, that's a guy who's going to tell it to me straight and always have, my best hopes in his heart. So yeah, Dayon. It's Dayon.
Let me ask you, this is a question that for the past years we have asked ourselves, like, how come no player, slaps Zlatan or crack him on the head or something, when he scored against us, he literally like made fun of us, and I was like screaming at Zimmerman, "Come on, man, grow some balls, do that."
Yeah.
So people asking like, what, why?
Why? I think because it's a lost cause at this point. I think after everything he's done in Europe, it's sometimes sad for the guy that he has to act like this after everything he's done.
True.
You know what I mean? You teach kids to be humble and, work hard at what you achieve and be successful, but don't be like that. And the fact that I feel like this is what my mom said. My mom feels like he's a super shy, timid guy, but he started like this and now he has to stay like this. And I actually saw him at the All-Star game because he was there for the time of the game and then left at halftime. But in the locker room, he doesn't say nothing. Breakfast doesn't say nothing. You know what I mean? But on the field, he's just this different person, and that's fine. That's what has got him his success. And like I said, I think it's a lost cause. Like my friend who played for Montreal accidentally stepped on his foot Zlatan's first year, and he slapped him in the back of the head. It's just like we look at this in the league, and no one has a care for him, not even his own teammates. You know what I mean? Yep. So it's just like he's there, and we know why he's here. You know what I mean? You're the big market guy that the MLS is using. So, all right, we won't touch their precious gem, but do what you got to do and leave, and then it's done with that. So that's why.
And that's right. And we took care of him. 5-3,
exactly.
Baby.
And he left.
Went out crying. He went out crying. I just remember that day, and it's a seeing soccer head. Going at it with him. It was just like one of the best moments. Seriously.
Exactly. At the end of the day, we all win, so it's good.
Hey, Mark, I got another question. Is there a specific reason why you wear that number, or is there a specific thing why you wear the number 14?
Yeah, so like I said, Thierry Henry growing up, he was my idol, and he was number 14. I don't think anyone in the world wears 14 better than him. Nobody. So, growing up, that was my favorite number. And it's funny, like when I played youth soccer, it wasn't the number I could get right away. I was number 2, then I was number 4, 6. And then finally, I had to work my way up to be one of the best players. Number 14, I got it. And I was really shocked that I got it at LAFC because when I came in, again, like, I'm not a guy who's going to come in and be like, I want this number, I want this. I haven't proven anything. So I'm just there like, I'll take whatever's available. Like, 16, whatever, 17. I wanted a 7, if 2 7s is 14. I'm just like, all right, give me a 7. And I remember there was no 14, right? Because I think they were keeping these numbers open for Andre Horta to come in the summer. And so 14 was open. And I remember I asked Scotty, I'm like, Scotty, like, do you think like I can get number 14? He's like, you know what? Let me ask John. And John said, yeah. And I was like, holy shit. I'm like, what are the chances? I get number 14 my first year. And it's just a cool thing between the Canadians that are in the league too. Like a lot of my friends who are in the league, they're also number 14. So it's been like my favorite number ever. So I'm glad I have it here.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, having the number of your idol, man, is like You know, it
It
gives
makes
you
a
more
difference.
power, I guess.
Yeah, it makes
It
a
does.
huge
It
difference.
gives you more power, man. So you know, we're going through all this coronavirus and being at home for I don't know how many days. Like, who cares right now? um, you know, what is the message from Mark-Anthony Kaye to the people out there that you know we are all suffering in many different ways,
Mhm.
and obviously with you know depression, anxiety, et
Yeah.
cetera. What's your message to that people?
Yeah, I would say to everyone that this is something we're all going through together, and the benefit of going through something with a large group of people is the fact that you can lean on a lot of people to get your strength from, and also give people strength, which will in turn give yourself strength. So I think that in a time now, we need to, rely on each other more than we usually do in normal day life. I think that now people understand the importance of communicating and being there for family members. And it's terrible that it takes something like this for us to realize the important things in life. The most important thing is that we stay healthy and stay safe and that we can get through this. And I hope that, the people who come out on the other side are understanding of, everything they should be grateful and thankful for. And maybe going forward, the world is going to be a better place after this. So, I would just say, if something's wrong, talk to somebody. That's the biggest thing we have right now is there's always people to talk to. And now more than ever, people will understand what you're going through. I think sometimes it's hard to talk up when you feel like you're alone and no one will get what you're saying, but we're all in this together. So I think it's important to have that human connection again to be strong and get through this.
Well, definitely, man. I think that it's those are nice words, and you know, it's we're not alone on this. Even though we're at home alone, we're not
Yeah.
alone. You know, it's so funny. Let me changing the subject a little bit. Toesta tell us that after the games he goes to El Taurino, which is a Mexican place, and then Latif goes there too. What is your
Yeah.
favorite spot after the game to eat?
It's tough because it's usually late. So I'm not a big eater after games, but I have this restaurant that I love to go to in Silver Lake. It's called Cliff's Edge. The manager there is actually a huge LAFC supporter. He let me know right away when he first saw me. So those are one of the places that I like to go to after. But yeah, it's usually I'm up for anything, whatever the guys are saying. I live right beside Latif, Pablo, Edward, Cheeky, Poncho, so we got a good group of guys. Bryce is here now, Dio and Tristan. So it's just like figuring it out all together where we want to go eat. So I don't really care as long as I'm with someone. It'll taste good. Nice.
Well, do you have anything else, compadre?
No, man. I just want to thank you, Mark, for accepting the invitation to our podcast. It's an honor to have you here. And for you to be for us to do the first podcast in English, and you to be the first one, man. Thank you so much. Stay home, and you know that we love you. You're part of the family. So again, thank you.
Hey,
Yeah,
Mark, like we talked, you never forget your first. So we will never forget you for being our first guest in English for Somos LAFC podcast.
Thank you guys.
Gracias,
so much.
hermano.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Stay safe, guys.
All right, so we're going to hit the sub button again. ¿Qué está haciendo, compadre? ¿Cómo ves?
No, pues oye, qué bueno que tuvimos a Mark-Anthony Kaye, muy agradecidos de que haya estado con nosotros y una entrevista más, ¿no? Con un jugador que nos platica un poco de cómo es la diferencia, de ver por sus ojos cómo ellos viven el fútbol, cómo viven el club, cómo viven esa pasión por los colores del LAFC. Creo que pues otra muy buena, y esperemos que la semana que viene por ahí tenemos también otro jugador, primero Dios, y bueno, muy contento de que podamos traer esto a la gente. Esperamos que la gente nos ayude con darle share, con darle like, como siempre decimos, nosotros hacemos todo esto, lo hacemos de corazón y tratamos de traerles lo mejor para que se mantengan entretenidos, informados y que sepan de sus jugadores favoritos y de la gente que siempre traemos aquí a nuestro show.
Pues como tú lo mencionas, y toda la raza que nos ha estado siguiendo por todo este tiempo, saben que todo esta madre lo hacemos de corazón, es donación nuestro tiempo, pero nosotros también queremos traerle cosas chingones de la raza, ¿no? Entonces para nosotros poder comprar mejor equipment, comprar mejores cosas para programas en la computadora, pues el día de mañana tener acá unos pinches backgrounds chingones, y no como este que traigo acá atrás. Para poder tener llamadas, interactuar con la raza y hacer diferente cotorreo. Tenemos ahí la primera camiseta de Somos LAFC Podcast que vamos a poner ahí para que la gente que nos quiera apoyar y que quiera pues echarnos la mano en ese aspecto, pues tenga la oportunidad de tenerla. Es una camisa muy chingona. Al ratito les vamos a poner el link ahí, compa, y pues más que nada decirle a la racilla pues que nos eche la mano.
Claro que sí, creo que es muy importante. Espero que la puedan adquirir, que nos puedan ayudar con eso. Como dices tú, compadre, pues nos ayuda para comprar mejores programas, para poder traer una mejor calidad de show en todos los aspectos. Y bueno, también para representar al show, ¿no? A lo que hacemos nosotros. Y qué mejor que, imagínate, cuando regresemos al Bank of California, ver un chingo de camisetas de Somos LFC Podcast. Y bueno, ojalá que, como dices tú, compa, nos apoyen, que nos ayuden y que lo importante, que sigan haciendo share, que sigan dándole like, que nos hagan tag en cualquier cosa que tenga que ver con el podcast y ahora sí que ayudarnos entre comunidad.
Sí, pues como mencionamos hace rato con Mark-Anthony Kaye, compa, pues nosotros honestamente somos el primer podcast en la historia de Somos LAFC, ¿verdad? Entonces la racilla ha mirado, la gente que ha estado pegado con
nosotros. Oye, compa, espérate, güey. Ahora no te he echado carrilla, güey. Patinaste ahorita, güey. Somos el primer podcast en la historia de Somos LAFC. Somos el primer podcast.
Sí, pues no me quería cuatrapear, güey, porque es que...
Pues es que el inglés, yo sé, estás pensando en inglés, güey. Por eso,
sí,
es que te...
Me chingo ahorita, güey. Pero bueno, sí, entonces la cosa es esa, la raza que anda por ahí, que nos ha estado siguiendo, que sabe que tuvimos ahí un parón como de 1 año y pico, sabe que seguimos con el mismo tema de la afición para la afición, ni cualquier pedo que tengan atorado ahí, cualquier cosa que nos quieran comentar, que quieran que lo comentemos al aire, sabe que nos pueden mandar un mensaje directo para hacerle, y si se ocupan cualquier cosa con el club también, que nos echen un mensaje privado, compa, porque pues gracias a Dios tenemos ahí palanquillas, y si hay una cosa que le podemos ayudar a alguien para que se haga de volada, que te manden el mensaje a ti.
No seas presumido, cabrón. Te digo que nomás saca.
2000 en un día, güey. No me contesta Robbie.
Oye, hablando de eso, fíjate que, pues para que la gente sepa, obviamente que no es tan fácil traer a un jugador, ¿no? O a la gente que hemos traído a nuestro show, porque pues la neta, pues nosotros somos dijera Don Cheto, un show piratón, ¿eh? Que lo hacemos de todo corazón y ahí dentro de nuestras capacidades, pero que gracias a Dios, por nuestro trabajo, nuestro esfuerzo, pues la gente nos da nuestro lugar y nos tienen ese respeto de decir, sabes que claro que sí voy, y ven obviamente lo que hacemos, siempre con el afán de traerle lo mejor a nuestra gente, que viene siendo a final de cuentas, aunque catiflee, la misma gente. Entonces, entonces va por ahí la cosa, ¿no? Espero que sigamos con el apoyo de toda la gente que siempre se conecta, de verdad que se los agradecemos de corazón, la gente que siempre se toma el tiempo de darle share al Facebook Live o cuando ponemos el podcast, la verdad muy agradecidos a la gente que nos escucha fuera del país, de verdad muchísimas gracias. Disculpe, esta vez fue en inglés y van a venir más en inglés. Vamos a tratar de ver si en un futuro, cuando entre más con lo de las camisas, ver si podemos poner ahí traducción en los videos para que así puedan entender de lo que estamos hablando con los jugadores. Entonces es muy muy importante que nos ayuden con eso, pues para poderles traer la mejor calidad y el mejor material para que toda nuestra gente entienda, porque pues sabemos que tenemos jugadores que hablan inglés y que hablan español, y también directivos, ¿no? Nuestro objetivo en un futuro es seguir trayendo gente del club, gente también del staff, traerles la mejor información que podamos traerles. Como les repito, no es fácil, pero lo hacemos de corazón y le vamos, como dicen, nosotros no nos imaginamos, nosotros hacemos cosas chingonas, que no es fácil, que sí cuesta, pero que cuando uno insiste y ven que uno está ahí y que tienes el apoyo de la gente, pues se nos hace mucho más fácil poder traer a la gente que traemos.
Así es, compa, quien quite el día de mañana que tengamos mucho dinero, tengamos uno ahí en orilla que esté tirando barrio.
Dicen que tú y yo estamos locos, güey. Ya sí, está, sí, uno por aquí que es que estoy me trato de amarrar las manos, es que cuando me emociono, güey, mis manos hablan por mí. No, pero sí, compita, sí, la neta que sí, gracias por echarme carrilla, güey.
No,
Oye,
no,
güey,
yo te estoy diciendo, güey, que ya ves que,
güey.
ya ves que ahorita todos los programas de noticias tienen ahí al traductor en sign language. Estoy diciendo que acá, güey. Es que por ti, güey, no.
Es que, bueno, yo pensé que estás traduciendo lo que yo estoy diciendo, pero en sign language.
Sí,
Ok, ya te
sign language.
entendí. Oye,
Bueno,
dice la gente que invitemos a Bob Bradley. Créanme que pues nuestra intención es invitar a toda esa gente. Otra cosa que está pidiendo la gente, quieren ver al productor. Ahí dice, saluda a Rafa, ahí está, tú lo puedes ver, Rafa, no nada más yo. Así es de que sale a la cámara, saluda a la raza, para que vean que estás ahí, como siempre, al pie del cañón. Compadre.
Oye, antes de pedirnos, compa, ya sabemos que andas allá por la mitad del país. ¿Qué onda? ¿Cómo está el tiempo para ahí? ¿Cómo está la cosilla?
Fíjate que estamos acá en Little Rock, Arkansas. Por cierto, compa, que un camarada tuyo de tu pueblo vive aquí como a 45 minutos de acá. Me echó una llamada en cuanto llegué el fin de semana para invitarme a Little Hot Springs, Arkansas. Muy, muy bonito ahí. Cada que vengo ahí voy a cotorrear ahí un rato. Me invitó a cenar y ya no le puedo regresar la llamada, pues sabes que estoy ocupado a lo que vine para acá, pero un saludo para este camarada. Al rato te echo una llamada, carnal, disculpa que no te he llamado. Él siempre se conecta y nos ve cuando estamos en el Facebook Live. Y no, pues el clima ahorita estuvo lloviendo todo el día, está frío, te digo, ahorita acá, no sé si se alcanzan a mirar que estoy un poquito,
Los faros.
Sí, por eso estoy así, güey, para que no se miren.
Como
Y también por eso me muevo, güey, porque si no siento como que se me congela la cara, un frillazo que está haciendo, bueno, no tan frío, pero sí estaba lloviendo toda la noche, y acá cuando llueve, pues llueve, no es chingaderas, y viene el calor en estos días y la humedad que va a estar bien pesada, pero fíjate que muy tranquilo acá, aquí las razas, aquí sí está como más rural, pues la gente anda en la calle más tranquila, sin seguir tanto los protocolos, y es bien diferente, la verdad, bien diferente a Los Ángeles. Obviamente es una ciudad mucho más pequeña y te la vives acá la vida va en cámara lenta, acá todo más tranquilo, no hay tráfico, no.
Ya miré, los precios del gas de 1.17, dije, no, voy a ir a llenar el tanque ya.
Pero yo decía te vas manejando, güey, te regresas.
No, ya varios me mandaron mensaje, me dijeron que si les podía llevar unos tanques de gas para allá, porque está bien caro. Pero yo siempre que venía decía, bueno, y aquí todo el mundo trae unos pinches troconones, camionetas grandes, ¿cómo le hacen, no? Ya cuando vi el precio de la gasolina, no, pues así está yo. O sea, allá en California traes una camioneta grande de 8 cilindros y o come la camioneta o comes tú.
Es una cora, compa.
Trátela de tener una bolsa de plástico, güey, como los chescos.
Y sí.
Dice Ricardo Andaluz, he shaved. ¿De quién estás hablando, Ricardo? Digo, sé más específico. Si
Ramos trae la babyface.
No, yo no tengo ni pelos, güey.
el Rafa Baby Shave. No, pero la verdad que, compadre, regresando con la banda, si tienen alguna otra pregunta, queja, sugerencia, como decimos, mentada de madre, pues adelante, pónganla ahí. Y sobre mi papá, pues bueno, mi jefe ahí está echándole ganas y nosotros aquí pues con él a su lado tratando de disfrutarlo cada momento, ¿no? Que es algo que es lo único que nos queda, ¿no? Tratar de disfrutarlo. Y bueno, ojalá que nadie pase por una situación como la que estoy pasando yo en lo personal, pero créanme que a veces uno aprende mucho de estas cosas, aprendes a valorar cosas que son tan insignificantes en la vida y lo más importante pues a mantenerte sano, ¿no? Yo creo que a veces como seres humanos pensamos que somos invencibles, pensamos que nada nos va a pasar y cuando menos piensas la vida te la cobra la salud, o sea, tienes que cuidar tu cuerpo. Por eso, compadre, bájale las carnitas, güey, ya no comas tantos gansitos en tu break. Y a tomar vitaminas, güey, porque ya está dando el viejazo, mira, ahí están los gansitos. Pero sí, muy importante.
Vale, pues, vámonos.
No, pues mira, compadre, vamos, let's wrap it up, vamos a mandarle la mejor vibra a Don Chava, a darle gracias a toda la banda que está conectada. Disfruta tu jefe. Esto es una vez más otro episodio de Somos el LAFC Podcast.
Compadre, antes que nos desconectes, como siempre te interrumpo, güey, como que ya se está haciendo una tradición, no sé si te has fijado, güey. Quiero mandarle un saludo a Noemí Sánchez y a su mamá. Ella, pues, como mucha gente ya sabe, tenemos un GoFundMe para ella porque, pues, está sufriendo de eso, de lo que es el COVID-19. Y esperamos que toda la raza nos pueda echar la manita aquí. De rato vamos a hacer share el link de GoFundMe para ayudarle. Ella y su mamá, pues, dejaron de trabajar porque ambas resultaron positivas y pues no han estado trabajando, han estado en cuarentena. De hecho, pues nuestra Noemí ha estado un poquito enfermita, le ha pegado duro eso. Y también a toda la banda de Campton, nuestro más sentido pésame. Desgraciadamente perdimos un hermano de las gradas debido a esto del coronavirus y pues como le decía yo a Mark-Anthony Kaye, ¿no? Desgraciadamente cuando regresemos a la cancha, cuando regresemos a poder estar en nuestra catedral, ya no vamos a estar todos, va a hacer falta gente. Y bueno, nomás concientizar a la raza, pues, de que se cuiden mucho, de que no se la piensen dos veces en ir a tomarse el test para si tienen síntomas y lo que sea. Tú sabes, compadre, que hemos tenido mucha gente cercana a nosotros que lo han tenido y que bendito sea Dios se han recuperado. Y desgraciadamente también tenemos gente o hemos escuchado de gente y gente cercana como el muchacho de Campton, Oscar, que desgraciadamente perdió la batalla, ¿no? Contra este maldito virus que nos está atacando, pero nada más quería decir saludos a todos ellos, en especial a Noemí. Chaparra, échale ganas, aquí estamos contigo, no estás sola. Vas a ver que primero Dios te vas a recuperar pronto y luego ahí vamos a estar echando chisme y cotorreo como siempre lo hemos hecho.
Pues ya está. Para la otra vez, antes de despedirme, voy a decir, ¿ya no falta más? ¿Ya estuvo?
No, porque luego se va a pedir esa tradición de que
espérate. Esto es un episodio más. Muchas gracias, raza. Cambio y fuera.